The following is a presentation of Puska Media Services in cooperation with the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail. It's time to talk Walleye Tournament Championship Fishing. This is Catching Gold, the official podcast of the NOWT. In the next 30 minutes, hear all of the latest information on the trail, plus highlights of all of the stops across Northern Ontario. We will interview the anglers, corporate partners, volunteers, and bring you inside access like never before. Watch Catching Gold on the YouTube channels of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail at the official NOWT, the Northern Corridor Podcast Network, and PuskaMediaServices.com. Now let's hear from the guys, host Dennis J. Puska, and trail executive members and anglers Shane Turcotte and Dean Bliss.
Welcome to our debut episode of Catching Gold, the official podcast of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail. It is great to have you with us. My name is Dennis J. Puska. We are thrilled to be with you with a reoccurring podcast throughout the 2026 season of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail. We're going to have so much fun on this podcast. We're going to bring you inside the trail like never before, with great video of all the events this year. Plus, we're going to be interviewing the anglers. We'll talk about all sorts of other neat things going on with the trail itself, and we'll bring you lots of great access. We're looking forward to it. And we're going to start off with a preview of the 2026 season. There's been another major announcement regarding another stop being added, so we're going to talk about that as we move forward. And also on our program today, we'll give you the list of the Northern Ontario, the NOWT Championship list of 30 anglers that are ready for Timmins, and that'll be coming up the last weekend of May, the first June 1st, and that's going to be amazing in itself. Before we get to Shane and Dean, you can watch Catching the Gold, the official podcast of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail, on YouTube pages of the NOWT, the Northern Corridor Podcast Network, and we're also going to be at PuskaMediaServices.com. The audio of this podcast interview will be available in an upcoming episode of the Sports Hub. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, and the iHeartRadio app. Well, without further ado, we're going to bring in Shane Turcotte and Dean Bliss, who are executive members of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail. We've had them on in the past, and now we've got them on board as an official podcast this year. And gentlemen, thanks for doing this. We're happy to be partnering with you guys this summer.
No, this is great, guys. I can't wait to do this year. It's going to kind of give a behind-the-scenes, in-depth look on the trail. You know, it's going to share some of our great communities and the things that are going on there. So I look forward to that. And yeah, just want to make sure, you know, everybody's been following us on Facebook over the last few years, but again, we're moving over to the YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel, so it's at the official NOWT is our YouTube channel. So look for it, subscribe, and you'll be able to make sure you stay up to date on everything through the year with this podcast and any other video releases that we may do throughout the season.
Wonderful. Dean, your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think, it's a great idea. We can, highlight some of the fishing parts of the tournaments, like other, strategies maybe we'll be able to hear about from different anglers. So I'm looking really, really forward to it. It's going to be fun. We're going to just try to have fun with this, and not less of a fun time than more than a serious time, but serious also because when it comes down to tournaments and the anglers that are out there, and the teams nowadays, yeah, it is serious angling. It's serious fun. And you know what? There's so many great anglers out there now. It's the competition's unbelievable right now. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to have a lot of fun with this and looking forward to it. This is a reoccurring podcast. What we're going to try to do is be on the week leading up to an event, and then we'll be on with the week after with post-reaction and interviews with the anglers and some video from the location. So that is our plan throughout this year, and there's a lot of events to get to. We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, before we move forward, let's look back a little bit. Talk about the 2025 season, and how do you guys think it went overall?
Well, I think overall, overall, the season went well. I mean, if I look back, at our anglers of the year, so our Racksman anglers of the year, we were looking at Jesse and Francis Deschamplain, right? So father and son duo. They've been doing it for a long time, and it was awesome, to see them win. And again, Racksman awarded them with a beautiful four-wheeler at the end of the year, based on total points, the best points. And so yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we had some other ones that we gave away last year too. Dean, maybe you want to cover some of them.
We had a few other things going on last year, and I overall, just a short little note. You know what? Overall, the season I thought went really well. I mean, the tournaments, the average, I guess you can average it out at around 60. Teams per event. Some had more, of course. The championship, which was in Long Lac, the Walleye Masters there. It hosted the championship last year, so that was really exciting. And there was a little bit more turnout for that, of course. We had the regular teams that qualified plus the regular field, so it was, I think it was around 100 there. So overall, it was pretty good. But surprisingly enough, the Sioux, it just it broke every possible record I've ever heard of on the NOWT. With their weight last year, it was unbelievable. Shane was there; he can attest to that.
A little bit different fishing there because we're allowed our five biggest here, right? So definitely, the weights were pretty impressive, and and we did crown some champions last year. Was Kevin Robin with Steve Gravel, right? Those are currently our NOWT champions going into this year. Also, our Garmin Youth Angler of the Year going into this year was Chase Gravel, who wrapped that up in Sault Ste. Marie. So that was impressive. And we did, Dennis, we did give away a top female angler prize at each event last year, and we're going to continue to do that. And that was in partnership with Grid Outdoors, so we thank them for that. We also gave out our top youth at each event. Again, nice, great partnership with Streamside in helping us with that. So that was impressive. And then the biggest fish caught on the circuit last year was a little over 9 pounds, and it came out of our fish factory there in Dubreuilville. And that was caught by Jesse and Francis Deschamplain. And, we thank Garnett's helping us out with that and being a great partner there. So it was a pretty impressive year, and a lot of hardware was given out. And I know anglers are chomping at the bit right now. It's been a long winter, as we're all well aware. And, guys can't wait for open water now to get out there and get at it.
Well, it's amazing how the year went, and the NOWT guys would not be possible without corporate partners and the support of your organization. Talk about their importance to what the NOWT does.
Our partners are very important. We've had them for years, and we are, really appreciate the fact that they are still with us. And but the amount of support that we get from them is unbelievable. I mean, Princecraft and Mercury have not stopped ever, even during the pandemic and post-pandemic when times were tough and we weren't sure where we were going to be going with any of our people that are going to be helping out or sponsoring for us. But Garmin always pulled through for us. I mean, we have some really, 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 really good partnerships with these groups, and hopefully we can just keep it going.
Yeah, like if I think about the championship alone, like we're looking at a Princecraft boat, Mercury engine, Garmin electronics. I mean, I think we're north of $80,000 for that package that we gave out at the championship, and we're going to be giving that out again this year. And JMB Cycle Marine, very important partner there as well, in helping us put all that together. So again, it's a tremendous package, and I know the guys they can't wait to get out there and try their luck at it. I mean, there's always a little bit of luck with fishing, right? It's not all, there's obviously skill, but luck does make up a big part of it too.
And as we get ready for the 2026 season, you guys have been hard at it, putting the schedule together. You had your schedule set, and then we've added a new stop this year, which I know you guys are thrilled about, bringing this group back again after being gone for a couple of years. So Without further ado, guys, why don't you release the 2026 schedule and where we are headed this year?
Yeah, I can. Want me to run it down, Dean, or you want to run it down?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll run it down quickly. So again, we start the season off May 29th and 30th. We'll be at the Cache Campground. It'll be the Timmins Walleye Expedition. That will feature our championship. They were new last year, and man, they ran a great event, and I know a lot of guys can't wait to get back there this year. Should be a lot of fun. Then we move off to the Duberville Magpie Walleye Derby, which is June 13th and 14th. Again, we call that the Big Fish Factory, right? Lots of big fish usually we see at that event, and a lot of guys have fun there, and a lot of teams do look forward to going there, and it is a really great time. Great community as well. So from there, we move over to the Geraldton Walleye Classic, which is June 27th and 28th. Great community, long time event on the circuit. It's done out of McLeod Park, Provincial Park. They have a great stage there, and again, great volunteers and a great community that supports it. A lot of fun for the families. You can camp there, so again, you might want to check that one out if you're looking to do something like that. After Geraldton, then we go to the Long Lac Walleye Masters, July 25th and 26th. Again, this is on Long Lac. The fishing is fantastic there. So if you're looking at wanting to catch a lot of fish, and you don't have to go very far either from the boat ramp, and you can try your luck there. Again, great community, very supportive, and some really good people that run that event. They have some great sponsors as well. From there, we head to Dean's home waters with the Cap River Walleye Tournament, featured on the Kapuskasing River, August 7th and 8th. Again, long time event on the circuit. Great community, very supportive. We're usually at the arena for the rules meeting, and then hardware afterwards, and some celebratory drinks normally take place there, so it's a lot of fun in Kapuskasing. Then we move to the St. Mary's River Walleye Cup, August 21st, 22nd. This will be the third year. It's done under the Bondar tent right on the St. Mary's River. We are downtown, and so it's a lot of fun there for the weigh-ins, but it's a little bit different than some of our other tournaments. It is really in the middle of downtown, so it's a lot of fun. The anglers love coming there. And then we feature the MFN Fishing, which is coming back for the 2026 season. They will wrap up the year September 11th and 12th on the Matagami First Nation. Again, great community. They've been around a long time. They kind of stepped away there for a bit, but now they're back, and we're all excited. All the anglers excited, and we look forward to being back in Matagami. That's the schedule for this year, Dennis, and again, everyone's pretty excited.
I think that's a wonderful schedule. Dean, talk about the importance of bringing back a familiar friend, Matagami First Nation. That's got to be great to bring them back within the fold again.
Yeah, I'm very, very pleased that they're back in. They're very familiar. They were one of the, I guess you want to call them the OG of the three or OG tournaments that were actually on the trail way back when. So that would be, you'd have to be like 20 years or over on the trail, right? So they are one of them. They, like you said, they missed a couple of years, but now they're back, and everybody I talk to is looking forward to it, right? And it's important. It's important to just have that diversity so that we can reach other anglers. Maybe maybe bring in anglers from the south that didn't want to travel so far, but now only have to go. They can do the Sioux and they can do the MFN. So it might attract more more anglers to the circuit, and if they're looking for that extra tournament. But yeah, I'm very, very pleased. We're actually all pleased here at the NOWT. They're back.
That's a wonderful news to have Matagami First Nation back, and we look forward to them joining the family this year. And Catching Gold podcast will be at events this year. We're hoping to get to Timmins for the NOWT Championship. I'm excited about that. And of course, in Kapuskasing, I've been down to the Kapuskasing River Walleye event. We've had a lot of fun being there, and we're going to see where else we can get to this summer, but very thrilled about all that list. That is for sure. Guys, before we get to the NOWT Championship and talk about the anglers for a moment, This winter has not been easy. Dean and I can attest, I guess, about how much snow we've gotten. This is more snow than we've got since we were probably kids growing up in Kapuskasing. I'm sure it's like that across Northern Ontario. How do we think all of this snow in the winter will affect the lakes and rivers on tour? Is there any idea about it? Any thoughts about it? Or again, this is going to be open to whatever kind of happens once the snow starts to melt?
Yeah, I mean, like we've had record snow. This is the most snow we've had since 1979, right? So it is a lot. I mean, it's a lot. And we've had, we're even having now today probably another 25 centimeters today. So, I mean, it's just everybody's pretty much fed up of the snow. How is it going to affect the fishing? You know what? There's so much snow on top of the ice that the ice has got like these pockets of rotten, like they're already kind of not really solid ice, right? You go to a lake and you're on it and you're driving around, they're like there's nothing. And then because you have that crust, once you get to that crust, there is some ice. And then there's water on top of that, but you can't see any of that because of the amount of snow that we had, right? So it certainly did affect how the lakes kind of and river systems froze, if they did at all, right? And but the amount of snow coming off, I don't know. Like I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be record high lake levels. I'm assuming, right? Like water levels are going to be high, very, very high everywhere. And local lakes, I think, are going to be the most noticeable, where you don't really notice it year to year. But I think this year is going to be one of those years where, like, oh my God, the lake is really, really high, right? Like, so how's it going to affect it? I don't know. It's all due to, it's all got to do on the temperature and the water temperatures and how they warm up, how fast, how slow. So, I mean, at this point, I really don't know, but I have a feeling that we will not be in open water or on open water on the opening weekend of fishing for us.
Yeah, you think that up there, Dean, there's that much snow and ice, you think opener weekend could be in jeopardy up there for the walleyes?
Definitely, we will not be fishing from a boat on opening day.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, when's the last time you think that happened up that way?
About maybe 10 or 15 years ago, we had this, it was a deep freeze. I mean, we literally froze like minus 30 all winter. And that spring there was some snow, but not a lot. But we did have opening weekend, there was still ice, like it was sort of breaking up, but there was still ice on every lake, every river. So we couldn't really get out there, right? And that's about probably 15 years ago. But I'm expecting the same is going to happen this year.
It is going to be one of those summers to be interested to see how things, gentlemen, move forward, and the water temperature could make the fish excited, or it could make the fish a little less excited and more dormant and more not wanting to have fun when they're under the water, right?
Yeah, well, and again, our first tournament is May 29th and 30th. And yeah, that's going to be interesting because there is a dam there, and there is some rivers that run in, and I guess I'm a little suspicious that their fish are going to still be hugging close to maybe some of their spawning grounds. So maybe post spawn, maybe they're going to drop back a little bit, but they're going to be close. So it could change the way that fishes this year. So that's going to be interesting.
You talk about how it changes the fish real quickly. What does that mean for the average person tuning in?
Well, it just means that they're going to probably be in different locations. Could be in different depths of water too, right? Like usually, the walleye spawn, and then typically then they drop back, right? And then they want to feed. So depending on where that food or where that bait fish might be spawning in back bays, or depending on what they're feeding on, I mean, that's usually where the fish will start to gather up, right? So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, May 29th, May 30th, it's just really going to depend how quickly we hit spring and how quickly it warms up. And again, with high waters, are we going to see a bit more current in the system? And how does that current going to affect fish location too? So, you know what? There's going to be a lot to learn out there, I think, for those anglers in that first tournament. And it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the way the spring kind of works itself out every year, it really depends. It really sort of affects the way the fishings are going to be generally, the early springs where we have a good thaw, the fish are out, they spawned already. Now they're hungry and they're eating, or they're starting to go, retract off to their wintering, their summering grounds and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of movement. So it does, it's more, you can easily, figure them out, right? Or develop a pattern with them. And it's that's the way it is in the spring, but it affects, the water temperature and how early it turned, and how early or late it got reached a certain temperature, right? So yeah, it definitely affects the entire season. And then you kind of try to figure out, and like here, I'm trying to figure out. We're probably about 3 weeks behind, so maybe a month, right? So that's how much it's going to really affect them this season. I find for us
Yeah, and
up here, probably on the Cap River.
yeah, that first system we're on is Kanagamasee Lake, right? So just outside of Timmins. So yeah, it's I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see what that's going to look like and how much different, say, it was from last year. I mean, if I was predicting, I would think that maybe the fish are going to set up a little bit different this year versus last year. It just really depends on how that spring and how quickly it melts and what's the runoff current look like and water temps. Like Dean said, water temps play a factor, and we could see them really shallow too, right? So it just really depends on. Again, it's going to be a lot of fun to get there and start exploring and looking around.
And then Timmins, you're right. I mean, that's it's a system that's governed with dams, right? So if the water levels are naturally at an all-time high this year, then those dams will be open. There will be that current, and current usually is a little bit better for for walleye fishing. You're usually looking for some little bit of current, or if there's a little bit of current on one end of the system, you go to the other end. There's more up there, and there's better fishing there. So but this definitely will affect it. Though I can just imagine what the current's going to be like there.
But you know what? We will have 30 championship teams there that they got in the championship for a reason. They know how to catch fish, and so we look forward to see how all those guys do. And then we also have another 30 team division on the other side, so there'll be 60 teams there on the water and on that first event. So it'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a great time to a lot of people that I haven't seen all winter. I get a chance to see them and have a beer and chit chat, ask how the winter went. I haven't seen Dean for a bit, so except on camera here, so I'll get to see him in person, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Definitely good to see the boys and hit that first tournament that you've been thinking about since last basically September. You've been thinking about the first one for this season as a season opener, and the championships there. It's going to be great. I mean, and as I look at the list of the 30 teams that are there, I mean, there's some pretty big hitters in there. I mean, everybody's there for a reason, obviously. There's going to be some new faces. I can see that, and then there's going to be some of the ones that usually are there. They're in the top 30 in the championship, and I mean, I see some like there's father and son, a couple of groups like that. So I mean, it's a little bit different. I find this year, and but there's going to be there are some really good anglers. Those teams up there are there for a reason.
But you're right, Dean. I'm just looking at the list here right now, and there is quite a few new teams in there. So that's going to be great.
I mean, those teams, are going to act. Those teams are going to experience it for the first time, right? So
a couple teams from Quebec too, right? So that's we're starting to see a few more teams from Quebec fish our events and get in the championship. So that's great. I noticed looks like a team. I can see a couple teams maybe from the Thunder Bay area on there as well. So like I said, it's a nice rounded list. There is some heavy hitters in that list, but again, you know what? It's an opportunity to go out. And it's like you have a 1 in 30 chance at a $80,000+ boat. That's so pretty good odds, I think, to go out there and try it. Obviously, you need a little bit of luck to go with your skill, but I mean, what a great opportunity! And I can't thank our big sponsors, Princecraft, Mercury, Garmin, J&B Cycle Marine, from the championship standpoint. But we're also giving away points, and those points are important. when we talk about the Rockswin Angler of the Year at the end of the year too. So, but we got a championship,
Yeah,
and we got guys going for points. We got a lot happening there on that weekend.
yeah, and of course, like the entire field is going to be getting points, right? So even the other like the 30 teams that are there that are not like non-championship, I guess teams you want to call them that, but they're still looking for that 60 member 60 teams for the tournament would be a success for them. They have that or are approaching that, I think. And those other 30 teams, it's all calculated as one group. So that's how the points are going to be given out. So and it is important for the points like that, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I can't even make a wager on like who could possibly win. That's how I look from. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we did have a fish rule. We did have a fish rule change this year too. So, as a circuit, we've always been big on conservation, and we started way back when weighing fish and water and really doing what we could to leave lakes the way we found them. That was the concept. And so this year we did a little bit. We went on a little bit further this year and said, okay, you know what, we're going to do 1 over and 3 unders instead of the 2 over 4 unders. So again, that's gonna, it's gonna help the fishery a lot in long term and in the future, but also it's gonna tighten those weights up a little bit too. So it's gonna make things a little bit more interesting that way.
Explain a little bit more about the weight change and how and what that's going to do, and kind of for the person who may be tuning in for the first time, talk about how it, when they get their 5 fish, how are they weighed and what are they looking for when they go out there? What are you guys doing when you go out there in the water and fish that first day? What numbers or what kind of fish are you looking for specifically weight-wise?
So the new rule, you're only allowed 4, 1 over 46 centimeters, right? So we're trying to not force the anglers, but we're trying to help those overs to be less stressed out. They'll be less caught. You can only hold 1 during the day. So and then you get the 3 unders. If you don't catch an over 46 centimeters, that's fine too. I mean, that would be me. I would be in that. I would be bringing in the 4 under 46 centimeters. So that, yeah, it's definitely for the fisheries. I mean, the anglers they're not. We haven't had any blowback from it. They're not angry about it. They all agree that we should be doing something, especially these long-term tournaments that have been 20 years and plus on those systems. Like that's quite stressful, for the fish, right? And now we're just trying to look for that, that little even keel where it's going to not really. It's not going to really affect the tournament. It's going to make it more competitive. I think each one will be closer. The one guy, the one team that doesn't usually fare well, they can only catch 1 over a weekend. They might be in contention, So there is that little bit of thing that it can add. And from past experience, when I can't remember what year the slot limits were, and we thought that was going to really affect the tournaments. You could not keep anything from 16-inch to 22. So that was the slot limit. All that had to be thrown back. So we thought it was going to really affect the tournaments and the way the formats run and the excitement, but it didn't. It still keeps every single angler in the same, if I can say, the same boat, and they are basically all competitive. Still, is the competition still competitive? It's funny how it works out. I mean, yeah, so the weights are going to be less, like, as you look at a list or you look at the spreadsheet, but the competition is the same. And, the amount of who's winning, who's losing, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. That's what I can see.
Yeah, and I mean, future-wise too, we are looking at apps for moving to maybe a catch, record, release format. So we're not necessarily bringing any fish to the scale at that point. It would be all done on the boat with video, a picture, and a ruler, and then it would, we would then use a chart basically to determine weight. Again, this would just be another step to really look at conservation and really leaving a less footprint at some of these lakes that we visit. The other nice thing about the new limit, it's a 1 angler limit. So let's just say an angler, a team one of the anglers gets hurt or has a sick or has an emergency, it still allows that team to go out and be competitive the next day, even with one angler in the boat, because they're still allowed to weigh 1 over and 3 unders or 4 fish, right? So it just gives the options on many different levels.
Well, you guys were talking about the NOWT championship team list, which has been released on social media on Facebook. I met the Deschamplains last year, and I tell you, they are very engaging folks out of the beautiful community of Dubreuilville. They're amazing, aren't they? I just really enjoyed just spending a few moments with them.
Yeah, no, they're nice guys, and like I said, father and son, and I think I can't remember how many top 10s. It might be 20 top 10s in a row now that they have quite a streak going right now. So we'll see if they can keep that streak alive. And they're definitely when Dean talks about heavy hitters, they're definitely one of the heavy hitters out there on the circuit and a team to watch out for this year. So but yeah, it's there. I would say this about all the anglers on our circuit. I enjoy talking to all of them, and we seem to have a really good bunch of guys, good bunch of anglers that fish the circuit. We're starting to see some more youth fishing, and we're starting to see we're starting to get some women out there fishing too, right? And so we got to keep growing this thing, and it's hard, but we keep plugging away every year, and we try and make it as fun as we can, and it's I can't say enough. We're starting, even last year we started seeing more family stuff, which was really good too. So that could be a direction we may keep building on in the future is to involve more families, right?
Talk about the heavy hitters. Talk about maybe 2 or 3 more heavy hitters that people could keep their eyes on and say, yeah, they're going to be near the top. They'll be ready to go, and they'll be fun to see how they make up.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a list here. We've got Jason Doyen and Nick Huxon. We got Steve Gravel, Kevin Robineau, multi-winners on the circuit. We got David Grad, Robbie Tremblay, multi-winners on the circuit. Darius Shabagabau and Jarrett Wabus, multi-winners on the circuit as well. Miguel Taller is fishing with his son Sam this year, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Heavy hitters.
We also have Shane Turcott and Corey Neffen. They are up there for a reason. They did very well last year, and good for them. Hopefully they can pull a rabbit out of the hat on this one. As I go down also the lakes, like we have the Collins there, father and son. They're and then you got the Robinsons. You got Brett and Jamie Robinson. 2 other big heavy hitters, long time veterans of the trail that have multiple wins, right? So it could be like you just look at it. Denis Perrier, one of the long-standing members, also on the trail, so. And then there's a few of the newer guys, and good for them. That's what we want. We want to build this thing. So that's why the importance for family and the youth, and it's just to get everybody involved so that we can just start to not rebuild, but we have to keep it going, right? And that's the only way to do that. We can't just sit around with all these grumpy old men. That just doesn't work.
And speaking to that, Dean, we just looking at some of the young teams, like if I take a Dawson Bernath and Raphael Ramsey, Dawson is
right.
He comes from the Bernath clan, so Terry Bernath's kid, Dawson. So again, in the championship, did very well last year. So good up and comer. We got Jacob Beauvais, Cameron. Again, young team in the championship.
Yeah.
So that's great, right? So again, there's probably some sleepers in here that that have as good a chance to maybe dethrone the champions from last year. So again, it's going to be very exciting.
That is for sure. Very exciting.
Well, guys, talk about volunteers. That's one of the big things that the NOWT, with all these events, has wonderful volunteers that are behind the scenes in these events, up at the crack of dawn, getting ready for a lift off and blast off and everything else. The volunteers are a big part of what makes the NOWT what they are today.
I can't say enough. We could talk about this every single podcast if we wanted to. the importance of the volunteers, the amount of time that they do, and they're so dedicated for each of the tournaments. I see, the same volunteers for years and years and years on those committees, and these are all volunteers, and you're like, look, they're still there, so that's good. They're helping out, they want to help out, and it's very, very, very important to have any kind of tournament run and be successful. It is only due to volunteers. That's it. There's you can organize till the cows come home. If you don't have those volunteers, you don't have a tournament.
Yeah, and you know what, the volunteers in these communities that we visit, they're up at the crack of dawn. They're there all day, and then they get home late at night, and a lot of them are fundraising too for community things that that they're doing. So again, I always say to people, if you're at an event and you get an opportunity to thank a volunteer, do that. If there's an opportunity, even with some of their local sponsors, they need their local sponsors to run these events. And these local sponsors help them with other community events as well. So again, I always say, if you take the opportunity to talk to some of the local sponsors when you get there, say thank you. It's without them too, we don't do this. Yes, we have corporate sponsors on the NOWT level, but man, those local sponsors are incredibly important, and it's the volunteers that work to get those sponsors and work closely with those sponsors and to make sure these events are second to none, and that they run well, right? And it takes a group of people to do this.
Well, I'll tell you one thing too. Volunteers are, we see them at the events and they're always smiling, even though they've had a long day, and they love what they do. They love the interaction with the anglers. They like being there when they come in with the limits and come in to make their weight and all that. So I think that's awesome to see. Before we go, guys, if people want to learn more about the NOWT, whether it's becoming a volunteer, maybe going on tour and attending an event, or maybe they're a business and they want to get involved maybe at the NOWT level, or say even at a local level, should they do? Where should they go from here?
You got a couple things here, Dennis. Each tournament's got their own Facebook page, so you could message them through there. You could send us a message, NOWTboard@gmail.com. If you want any information, or if you're looking to get involved, absolutely do that as well. The Northern Ontario Walleye Trail does have a Facebook page, and we do watch for messages. So if you want to message us there, I can tell you that any of these communities would be glad to have anybody else help out. They're always looking for people, and man, you can really make a difference when you get involved. So I hope there's people out there that want to get involved, and I guarantee you'll have lots of fun.
Yeah. We also have our Facebook page, right? In the NOWT, we have, of course, the most important, which is the YouTube channel now. It's been up for a few years. I mean, I'm sure that we do have some subscriptions, but it's very important for all the teams that are participating. Any of the family members you want up to date, the live up to dates and all that. It's all going to be done through that, and it's going to be on our YouTube channel. So it's at NOWT, or no, it's at official NOWT, I think. Right?
It's what the YouTube channel is at the official NOWT. That's our YouTube channel, and then
so
Facebook, Facebook is Northern Ontario Walleye Trail, and that's the same handle for our Instagram account as well.
Yeah, so I mean, people can find information there also, and that's where the podcasts are going to be up. Any of the latest news that we have is going to be shared there also. So I mean, we're just trying to go that route, and then hopefully. People check out the channel on YouTube and subscribe, of course, and maybe hit the notification, and you can get notified whenever we have new content being put up on there. And the other thing with the local, if there's any local sponsors that are interested in helping or wanting to sponsor, wanting to get their name out there, they would go through their host community committee. That's what they would do. They would approach them first. And see, hey, you know what? I want to give something. Can you put my name out there? And then that just falls right through to the NOWT afterwards. So that's another way of doing it. We do have some, regular local sponsors that we get every year, but they help out the immediate committee in the host community.
Yeah, and like I said, you're helping us out. If you go to our YouTube channel and you subscribe, you will be helping us out in the future as well. Keep yourself updated, but you'll get to see the content as we release it. You'll get notified. So again, make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned for the rest of the season. Also, you'll probably see the Eastview Chev truck out on the trail hauling our gear around through the circuit. So again, we always thank Eastview Chev for looking after us on an annual basis.
Wonderful, guys. You are that is so great to see. That truck looks great too. So you guys get out there and you haul all that gear and get a chance to see that, and just the support of seeing that, and all the big corporate partners too that get behind the NOWT and make it what it is, and that's pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, and again, Dennis, as I always say, you get a chance to support our sponsors, please do. They always appreciate it, and we appreciate it that you're supporting our sponsors.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dennis.
Well, guys, before we go, last thoughts before we head to episode number 2 down the road. Your final thoughts before we say goodbye.
I just want to thank Shane for not mentioning my final standings from last season. Thank you very much about that. Very nice and polite. I like that. I like it.
Yeah, well, Dean, you shouldn't undercut yourself, because I can say that you are a multi-tournament winner on the NOWT. So you know what, you're no slouch yourself out there on the water. So I look forward to fishing against you. And again, I just can't wait to see the guys get to the first tournament, and you know what, have those first conversations. It's always a lot of fun.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Thanks for all of this. We appreciate it. And that's going to wrap it up for episode 1 of Catching Gold, the official podcast of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail. Again, catch us on YouTube. You can also get us at PuskaMediaServices.com, which is at the Northern Corridor Podcast Network. We are thrilled with this partnership. Looking forward to building it each and every week to something special. Can't wait to get the video of the events on our podcast. That's going to be amazing to see some wonderful photos of the lakes and of the anglers and of the volunteers and all sorts of fun. And I'll be down there too, having some fun and checking all things out. For Shane and Dean, thank you for episode 1. You guys did an awesome job.
Thank you, Dennis. It was a lot of fun.
We'll see you boys on the next one.
Wonderful. For Shane Turcotte and Dean Bliss, I'm Dennis J. Puska. That's going to do it for episode 1, the premiere of Catching Gold, the official podcast of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail on the Northern Corridor Podcast Network, brought to you by Puska Media Services. Good night, Dick. Talk to you next time. Bye for now.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Catching Gold, the official podcast of the Northern Ontario Walleye Trail. Watch all of the episodes on YouTube and at PuskaMediaServices.com. Catching Gold on the Northern Corridor Podcast Network was written and produced by Dennis J. Puska, with assistance from Shane Turcott, Dean Bliss, and the NOWT. All rights reserved. This has been a 2026 Puska Media Services NOWT Studio 29 DP production.